Would it be crazy to say this little gizmo has changed the world? Well, maybe. But it certainly changed the way people have learned Chinese. Anywhere, at any time, on any subject under the sun, people can queue up their favorite lessons and get their daily dose of Mandarin. Of course, I hear some people use this thing for music too. But for a while now, this little gadget's been capable of video too. Same holds true for the web. Ever-widening bandwidths and streaming media make this kind of content, video content, readily available for your subscribers. Now, for your newbie and elementary learners, characters still remain a mystery. But what if you could bring that content to them for far less trouble and cost than you think? What if your learners could engage in this new language in a new, fun, and informative way? But what if was no longer just a possibility, but a reality? What follows is just two examples of how ChinesePod can help their premium subscribers better recognize the Chinese characters. Now notice I say recognize and not learn to write, because at some point rubber needs to meet the road and the students themselves will have to take some kind of step to actually practice that kind of thing. We can't do that for them. What we can do is help them better recognize the characters, help them to read it and recognize it. First is maybe a weekly show that would just highlight, radical by radical, a way to recognize characters and let people read them better. Let's take a look. Hello again. Welcome to ChinesePod's Radical Approach to Learning the Chinese Characters. I'm your host, Frank Fridella. Today we're going to focus on a couple of pronouns and see what happens when they get pushed to the side. We're also going to see how sometimes you'll get some clue as to how what a character means or how it's going to be pronounced just by the sight of it. Let's take a look. This character here is Ren, means people or person. But what, I'm sure you've seen it before, but what you probably didn't realize is that this here is the same character. It's just called a side radical. This is the side man radical. Whenever you see this attached to a character, it means that the character that you're looking at probably has something to do with people. Not always, but usually. In this case, let's have a look. This character, yeah, means also. Has nothing to do with people until you add the side man radical like so. And all of a sudden, this changes the entire meaning of the thing to mean ta or he or him. This is the pronoun that we use for the male third person, he or him, ta. Now, sometimes these radicals can also change not only the meaning, but they can give you a clue as to the sound of these things. Like, for example, this is men, the gate radical. Means gate or doorway, even looks like a doorway. But when you add the side man radical to it, like so, it's still pronounced men, which is a sound loan from the previous character. But what you've done now is you've changed the meaning entirely. What this is now, when you add it to characters like ta, is you've given that pronoun a plural. Ta men means they or them. You'll see the structure a lot on things like you, we, us, but we'll get to those characters another time. Thanks for joining me again this week. Next time around, we'll tackle some other pronouns and some more sound loans. Please keep those cards and emails and comments coming in and let us know which characters you're having the most trouble with, and we'll make sure to cover them on a future show. Thanks again, and until next time, Zaijian. As a weekly show, ChinesePod's Radical Approach to Learning the Characters will focus on characters that are all somehow related. That kind of connection will help students retain that information better, not to mention give them a better understanding of characters and better recognition of characters when they appear with familiar radicals later on. Another option for video content might be to include small supplementary material with every newbie and elementary lesson, or even just selected lessons. Let's check it out. Hey there newbies, Frank Fridella with you again. Another great lesson today, a newbie lesson called Too Fat. Some great vocabulary in this one too, like this character here, Pong. Like a lot of characters, this one's made up of a few different radicals. In this case, on the left we've got the character for moon, yue, and on the right we have the character for half, ban. Half moon means fat. Not hard to figure out where they got that one from. It's a pretty neat mnemonic. Next up we've got another one. Let's take a look. These are just two ways the ChinesePod can bring video content to their premium subscribers, but they're not the only two ways. You can do an original storyline serialized on the website every week. Dear Amber or Ching Wen can go on location if they want to. There are a plethora of possibilities. Video content is not nearly as costly or as complicated as you might think. Matter of fact, what you were just watching, I produced in a couple of days after work using nothing but a camera, a green screen, and my MacBook Pro. Mix a little know-how and stir well, and you've got some great video content that people can take with them on their iPods whenever they want, or even view on the website. Now, I have no doubt the Chinese pod has every intention of making full use of the Web 2.0 tools that are at their disposal. I'd like to help be a part of that. And if you keep putting great content into the palm of your users' hands, and you'll have them eating out of the palm of yours.